Those who share my purpose become allies. Those who do not become casualties.
Nothing in our fight against the Reapers has been that cut and dried.
Because you still have hope that this war will end with your honor intact.
I do.
Stand in the ashes of 1 trillion dead souls and ask the ghosts if honor matters. This silence is your answer.
What's up, MetaNerds? The Protheans were an ancient alien civilization that vanished mysteriously over 50,000 years ago. Emerging from an unknown planet, they created a sprawling empire that spanned the galaxy and included various other spacefaring species. While much about them remains shrouded in mystery, many of their artifacts, ruins, and technologies have survived the passage of time. The Protheans were believed by most species to have built the Citadel and mass relays, unmatched feats of engineering that form the foundation of current civilization through the mass effect field technology. As a result, Prothean artifacts are of immense scientific importance and are considered the collective heritage of the entire galaxy. So let's start by looking at their biology. Protheans are an anthropoidal species characterized by 2 pairs of eyes, each with dual pupils, and 3 pairs of nostrils. Their voices exhibit a similar flanging effect to those of Turians.
For the Empire. For the Empire.
So, hello?
Prothean eyes possess the ability to see through cloaked objects or entities, which may be evidence that they see in a much wider section of the electromagnetic spectrum. Their heads are shielded by a thick, layered carapace, giving them a distinct appearance. The skin around this carapace can range from pale blue, gray to brown, often mottled with muted yellow spots. They have 3 fingers on each hand and 2 widely spaced toes on each foot. While similar to us, the Prothean blood is red. A very unique aspect of Prothean physiology is their experiential exchange system, which operates through physical touch. By touching an object or individual, a Prothean can recall its experiences, allowing them to learn new skills or languages instantaneously. Where information might be sent across the synapse of a neuron, they are able to perform this across bodies and objects.
It was common among my people, imparting experience through touch, the chemistry of life. Complicated ideas could be absorbed in seconds.
That sounds very useful.
We evolved as hunters. Reading 1,000 details in our environment ensured our survival.
Analysis of the limited Prothean genetic material that has been found reveals that they possess a unique quad-strand DNA structure, and it's hypothesized that Protheans were resistant to low levels of radiation. This theory is supported by the discovery that Prothean communication towers emitted small but significant amounts of ionizing radiation, sufficient to damage the DNA of Earth organisms like fruit flies and bees. The Citadel served as the Prothean seat of government and the core of their vast galaxy-wide empire. Although the Protheans were originally a single race, their expansion led to the assimilation of other spacefaring species, which would all subsequently adopt the name Prothean for themselves.
We were one empire composed of many subjects. All eventually called themselves Prothean.
This assimilation was not always peaceful. Advanced species that resisted or opposed their integration into the Empire were forcibly conquered and incorporated into Prothean society.
What if they didn't want to?
They weren't given a choice.
Are you saying you enslaved the other species?
Any could oppose us if they wished, and if they had won, they would have ruled. Many tried. None succeeded.
They justified this cultural reconditioning by asserting that if these opposing races were truly stronger, they would supplant the Protheans as the galaxy's dominant civilization. This belief aligned with their idea of evolution, or the cosmic imperative, which posited that the strong must dominate the weak for the greater good. In a universe that didn't seem to care how much things suffered, high-tech civilization was the only thing that could bring about a comfortable life. And even if they didn't know it, the less advanced species only contributed to the chaos of the galaxy.
And what right did your people have to subjugate the other races of your time? You enslaved them.
We dominated them. They were weaker. Our will prevailed as evolution intended.
This philosophy was also driven by necessity. After encountering hostile machine intelligences, the Protheans concluded that all organic races needed to unite for survival. They made efforts to integrate newly inducted servant races smoothly, such as implementing Prothean language tutorial programs, hoping to make their integration into the Empire as easy as possible. Early Prothean architecture was both functional and decorative, with distinct dynasties producing their own unique styles. However, as their extinction neared, architectural designs became simpler. Archaeologists speculate that this shift resulted from the Protheans being preoccupied with fighting the Reapers, leaving little time for aesthetic considerations. Evidence from beacons and the Elitania ruins indicate that, like the Asari, the Protheans were adept at transferring data directly into an individual's mind. They heavily invested in scientific research, a strategy that bore fruit, albeit too late to save their own species. Javik, if freed from stasis in 2186, stands as the only known living source of extensive knowledge about Prothean culture. However, the fact that he shares information that often contradicts the established galactic understanding does make it difficult to verify his claims. This may seem odd to doubt a living, breathing Prothean from the time in question, but imagine if a single person from the past, say ancient Rome, was brought into modern day and asked about how every aspect of their society worked, from technology to life on the furthest cities. You could see experts trusting the archaeological record and other objective sources of information as opposed to one guy's story.
What sort of government did you have, and can you tell me about your religious beliefs, or perhaps the...
We are dead now. What does it matter?
I'm sorry. Studying your history has been a lifelong passion of mine.
When I was born, our empire was already at war with the Reapers. The first thing I remember was seeing my planet on fire.
But most agree he does give a great look into the day-to-day life of Protheans. The society would have certain individuals be designated as avatars or exemplars of specific traits such as bravery, strength, or cunning.
Among my people, there were avatars of many traits: bravery, strength, cunning. A single exemplar for each.
Javik himself is the avatar of vengeance. This title could even be conferred upon non-Protheans. For instance, Javik refers to Commander Shepard as an exemplar of victory during the final stages of the Reaper War. Prothean society was highly regulated and disciplined, and Javik mentions that he gambled, engaging in games of chance, something that was punishable by death. Weirdly enough, a common pastime among Protheans was a staring contest, which was made more challenging by their 4 eyes, and females used their eyes to initiate foreplay. The Protheans did not pursue romantic relationship with species they considered primitive. Although they found some species, like the Quarians, attractive, mating with them was seen as pointless. Though the Asari do seem exempt from these mating restrictions. While many of the other species that were conquered and enslaved were often eaten, the Protheans didn't seem to have any hesitations about consuming sentient species, and their stomachs were able to process a wider array of chemical makeups. Javik, while drunk, says that dextro-amino acid-based races like the primitive Tyrants and Quarians were just as likely to be a part of Prothean cuisine as primitive humans, as well as Asari, Hanar, Salarians, and Krogan. Hanar were typically boiled or fried, and Salarian liver was considered a delicacy.
He is correct. It was a delicacy in our cycle.
Accounts of which must have been used by rebel recruiting agencies all over the galaxy. What could be more motivating to overthrow their Prothean lords than knowing that these high-tech aliens would callously eat your kids one day? Before the Reaper invasion, notable Prothean accomplishments included the Quasar Fortress of the Turandi Vale, the ice canals of Judor IV, and the palisades of the Varam Angelic. These wonders were remembered by the last remaining Protheans through memory shards, handheld devices that stored and replayed memories. And these devices could download new memories from both Protheans and non-Protheans. During the Reaper War, soldiers passed these memory shards among themselves, preserving the stark contrast between their glorious past and their grim present. Though the Protheans did not create the mass relays or the Citadel, they studied developing races such as humans and Hanar, and did build the galaxy-wide communications network using beacons that transmitted information directly from mind to mind. Their data storage devices have endured for 50,000 years, and they employed cryogenic preservation techniques capable of withstanding neutron bombardment. And in these highly advanced structures, they would utilize intricate holographic interfaces, developing a form of VI technology that utilized personality imprints derived from actual individuals, akin to the Quarians' practice of creating ancestor VIs from scans of their forebearers. In their prime, these VI holograms closely resembled the Protheans they represented. However, after 50,000 years, the projection quality degraded from clear depictions to indistinct blobs of light. Despite this, the core systems of these VIs remained durable and capable of making accurate assessments by analyzing their surroundings. One significant technology the Protheans developed was the detection of indoctrinated individuals, with this tech being integrated into their VI systems. Despite this advancement and their natural ability to read others, the Protheans could still fall victim to traitors within their own ranks.
But traitors within our ranks, indoctrinated agents, betrayed us, and the Reapers discovered our plan.
The architecture on Ferros and Ilos demonstrate the Protheans' ability to build and maintain enormous cities and arcologies. However, because the Protheans used the Reaper-made technology of the Citadel and Mass Effect relays, this would inspire the look of a lot of their buildings and technology, so much of the architecture appears influenced from structures like the Citadel, which blurs the line between what the Protheans built and what they discovered. And to complicate that even more, some of the cities, particularly those on Ilos, were constructed upon the ruins of the Anusanan, a civilization from a cycle before the Protheans that was wiped out roughly 50,000 years before them, with many worlds having layers of harvested civilizations on them. Protheans were also adept at crafting kinetic barriers. They constructed elaborate Mass Effect defense grids using barrier curtains and developed a type of personal defense shield that acted like an energy bubble. The shield would surround and levitate the individual who activated it, rendering them impervious to harm but also immobilized, similar to a biotic stasis field. One of the most advanced pieces of tech developed by the Protheans was the Conduit, a miniature prototype mass relay designed to connect Ilos directly to the Citadel. This achievement remained unparalleled by any known contemporary or predecessor race. It's the closest thing anyone ever got to Reaper technology, as reverse engineering a mass relay was considered near impossible. And while detailed knowledge of the Prothean military is scarce, it is known that they possessed fleets capable of defending their empire against various threats, even having things in place from threats from outside the galaxy. The flagship of the Prothean Navy, Penumbra Apex, was equipped with a cannon comparable in power to a Geth Dreadnought's main weapon. Fighter craft within the Empire were piloted by individuals who were solely responsible for their upkeep, something like a knight and their personal horse, and it was considered a great honor to be buried with one's fighter craft. During the height of the Reaper invasion that ultimately destroyed the Prothean Empire, they would develop the Particle Rifle, a powerful assault rifle designed to operate without specialized ammunition or thermal clips. A crucial innovation after the Reapers decimated the Empire's warships that forced the Prothean resistance to create weapons that could function without relying on intact supply lines, creating technologies and strategies to combat their seemingly unstoppable foes. Though their legacy is still largely shrouded in mystery, it would influence and inspire the galaxy's current civilizations, and would provide those species that they once tried to uplift with the only tool to finally defeat the Reaper cycle. So now let's turn to their history proper. The name and location of their homeworld has been lost, and while the exact timeline of their civilization's rise and duration is unknown, at least one of their communication devices discovered on Fel Prime dates back to around 68,000 BCE. Upon achieving spaceflight, the Protheans stumbled upon the ruins of the Anusanan, a spacefaring race of a previous cycle. From these ruins, they learned about Mass Effect physics and developed faster-than-light technology, which they kept secret for centuries. This technological leap gave them a significant edge over their contemporaries, allowing them to expand throughout the galaxy and make the Citadel their capital, using this mysterious alien technology along with the Mass Effect relay network. Early in their development, the Protheans faced a grave threat from a hostile machine intelligence, and to combat this threat, they sought to unite all sentient organic life in the galaxy under the Empire. And all organic races that tried to resist were swiftly crushed by the Protheans' overwhelming power. Eventually, the conquered races assimilated into Prothean culture, coming to identify themselves as Prothean, taking on a term that became larger than any one race. And united under a single cause, the Prothean Empire successfully repelled the machine threat in what became known as the Metacon War.
The Metacon War. We were turning the tide.
During their reign, the Protheans closely monitored the primitive species such as the Asari, Hanar, humans, Quarians, Solarians, and Turians. They nurtured those deemed promising, establishing numerous outposts on or near their homeworlds. Their interference and activities were subtle, kept beyond the understanding of their subjects. Eventually, the Protheans intended to offer these primitive species the choice of joining their empire, integrating them into the grand vision of galactic unity. A choice that didn't have to be made until a people group became sufficiently technologically advanced. Once a civilization was sufficiently spacefaring, they could pose a threat to the Protheans, and so their leadership would either be forced to join or be destroyed. While more primitive civilizations were essentially irrelevant, that's why the Protheans worked with them to try and get them up to a higher tech civilization.
It talks about a Thames guide granting us the gift of biotics as a reward for worshipping her.
That gift involved years of genetic research.
The Prothean Empire spanned the known galaxy. They uplifted countless other species to help them join the galactic community.
Uplifted? Like when the Solarians brought the Krogan out of the Stone Age.
Yes. Judging by the dig sites like the Prothean Archive on Mars or here on Eden Prime, the Protheans wanted other species to learn.
And with their success in the Metacon War and their vast empire, they felt they could withstand any machine intelligence, but this illusion was shattered around 48,000 BCE with the arrival of the Reapers. These enemies were far more advanced than anything the Protheans had ever faced. The assault's scale and speed caught them completely off guard. The Reapers breached the galaxy through the Citadel, instantly crippling the Prothean government and disrupting the Mass Effect relay network, isolating Prothean systems from one another. Even worse, records on the Citadel provided the Reapers with access to all of the Prothean census data and star charts, allowing them to track every Prothean in the galaxy effectively. Ironically, the Protheans' greatest strength, their unified empire, became their downfall.
What had been our strength, our empire, became a liability. All races conformed to one doctrine, one strategy. The Reapers exploited this. Once they found our weaknesses, we could not adapt.
As a single governing species led by a series of subordinate races, the Reapers quickly eliminated the Prothean hierarchy, cutting off the head of the snake as it were, by simply killing the leadership on the Citadel. With their ruling body compromised, Prothean forces became scattered and disorganized. Moreover, the Empire's uniform military doctrine proved disastrous. When the Reapers identified and exploited a weakness, the commanders at various levels simply couldn't adapt quick enough, receiving no orders from the top. And as their domain crumbled, they found themselves powerless to defend other races from the Reapers' onslaught. They abandoned their study of primitive species, hoping the Reapers would consider them too underdeveloped for harvest. Realizing that for as terrifying and seemingly merciless as these creatures were, they were not blindly killing all life they came across, but targeting only advanced spacefaring races. There was a desperate hope that some Protheans might survive the Purge and eventually unite these primitive species to form a new empire. While some of these primitive subjects survived and became the dominant species of our current cycle, many races subjugated under the Protheans were not as fortunate. The Densoran, a race that specialized in scientific knowledge to the point that they surpassed even that of the Protheans, believed that they could pacify the Reapers by sacrificing their own children. This desperate act only hastened their annihilation. Meanwhile, the Zatil, symbiotic AIs created by the Za to sustain life on their dying homeworld, would fall under the Reapers' control, transforming these assistants into hostile mechanical swarms.
They resorted to implants to enhance their intelligence.
I think I know where this is going.
The AI seized the physical body. It could alter the genetic material at the deepest level. In time, the offspring were molded into a slave race. Few organic traces were left. They were monsters.
The threat they posed was so severe that the Protheans resorted to sending Naza's star into supernova, obliterating these people entirely. For centuries, the Protheans waged war against the Reapers.
The conflict lasted for centuries. Those that faced the Reapers in the beginning were long dead when I was born.
Fighting fiercely from system to system, world to world, and city to city. They sacrificed entire colonies, abandoning them to the Reapers to buy time to regroup. While this strategy delayed their inevitable defeat, it was extremely costly, stripping the Protheans of vital infrastructure and manpower.
Entire worlds were sacrificed just to slow the Reapers down. Time they spent harvesting a population was time we could regroup.
Slowly but surely, the Reapers conquered, enslaved, and destroyed every Prothean-controlled planet. Desperation drove some of them to offer surrender, but the Reapers' response was always silence. Compounding the external threat, the Protheans faced increasing treachery from within. Indoctrinated Protheans acted as sleeper agents, betraying their own kind and exposing hidden bases and revealing the survival plans and contingencies to the Reapers. During this period, the Protheans discovered the cycles of galactic destruction by studying remains of earlier civilizations. They found plans for the Crucible, a device based on designs left by these extinct races, and embarked on constructing their own. Some Protheans believed the Crucible could destroy the Reapers. However, in their attempts to harness Reaper technology, they fell to indoctrination and sabotaged the Crucible, robbing the Protheans of their last hope.
We were sabotaged from within. A splinter group argued we should dominate the Reapers rather than destroy them. It fractured our order of battle. Later, we discovered the Separatists were indoctrinated.
After centuries of systematic extermination, the Reapers had killed or enslaved every Prothean in the galaxy, stripping all their worlds of resources, and erasing all traces of the Protheans' existence. The Reapers retreated through the Citadel into dark space and sealed it behind them, leaving only echoes of the once great Prothean Empire. Despite their thoroughness, the Reapers overlooked one world. The Conduit research team on Ilos, whose records had been destroyed in the initial assault on the Citadel, managed to survive this first wave of destruction. In an attempt to evade detection, the facility went dark, and the staff agreed to enter stasis, hoping that this danger would soon pass. Vigil, a virtual intelligence, was tasked with watching over the Protheans in cryogenic sleep until the Reapers had gone, planning on waking them to begin the rebuilding process. But as the centuries dragged on and the Reapers continued their genocide, Vigil's power supplies began to dwindle, putting the cryopods at risk of failing. Following a contingency plan, Vigil began cutting power to the pods of non-essential staff in order to conserve energy.
Eventually, only the stasis pods of the top scientists remained active. Even these were in danger of failing when the Reapers finally retreated back through the Citadel relay.
By the time the Reapers finally withdrew through the Citadel relay, only a dozen top researchers remained. Vigil revived these scientists, who slowly pieced together the grim reality of their situation. The outlook was bleak, with too few survivors to sustain a viable population. The Prothean species faced inevitable extinction. Desperate for any contact with others of their kind, the scientists encoded a careful signal and sent it to the beacons on other planets. Though the chances of finding other survivors were slim, they felt it was worth the risk. The signal contained a warning of Reaper invasion and a description of Ilos itself, a glimmer of hope in an otherwise dire message. The surviving Prothean scientists did not focus on rescue, instead diverting their efforts into protecting the races they had been studying, races that had been spared from destruction due to their lack of technological advancement. They also worked to uncover the origins and methods of the Reapers, and after decades of intense study, they uncovered the connection between the Reapers, the Citadel, and the Keepers. They devised a way to interfere with the signal that prompts the Keepers to activate the Citadel relay. Using the conduit, the Prothean scientists left Ilos and traveled to the Citadel, and there they altered the signal with the aim of preventing the Reapers from reopening the Citadel relay, which would at the very least slow the Reaper advancement during the next cycle. However, they would have no way of knowing if this plan would actually work. The fate of these brave scientists remains unknown. With the conduit portal only functioning one way, and no food or water being available in the Citadel, Vigil hypothesized that they eventually starved to death. As the next cycle was coming to an end, Vigil realized that the Protheans' efforts were not in vain. Commander Shepard's squad discovered Ilos, and Vigil recounted the story of the Protheans' last stand. Sovereign, a Reaper, had attempted to signal the Citadel to compel the Keepers to open the relay to dark space. Thanks to the Ilos scientist interference, the bugs never got this signal, and this gateway was not opened. Vigil provided Shepard with a data file that granted temporary control of the Citadel's systems, sharing all he knew about the Reapers and the Protheans' extinction. He also gave directions to the conduit.
The Reapers can't be stopped, not by the Protheans, not by you. The cycle always continues.
When Sovereign was defeated and the Reaper's return was stalled, the Protheans' work finally bore fruit, granting the galaxy more time to prepare. Yet this victory only delayed the inevitable return of the rest of the Reapers from dark space. And while it seemed like the Reapers had eradicated the Protheans completely, the reality was far more insidious. They'd attempted to harness the genetic material of millions of Protheans to create a new Reaper. This gift of immortality from the Reapers to have a species live on in their own Reaper form. However, Edie speculated that this endeavor failed, leading the Reapers to repurpose the captive Protheans to meet their needs. An ironic fate for the proud Protheans, as they were now the inferior slaves.
A quad-strand genetic structure identical to traces collected from ancient ruins. Only one race is known to have this structure, the Protheans.
My god. The Protheans didn't vanish. They're just working for the Reapers now.
Morden theorized that the Protheans were initially indoctrinated, and as this mind control method took its toll on their abilities, they eventually were fitted with cybernetic enhancements. After several generations of cloning, the Reapers decided to extensively rewrite the Prothean genome.
But there are signs of extreme alteration. 3 fewer chromosomes, reduced heterochromatin structure, elimination of superfluous junk sequences.
The Reapers didn't wipe out the Protheans. They turned them into monsters and enslaved them.
effectively transforming them into a new race, loyal to the Reapers, becoming known to the galaxy 50,000 years later as the Collectors. The Collectors were an enigmatic and rarely seen species. Their very existence was doubted by most, seen as mere myths and scary stories told by far-off traders. They resided in the Collector Base, a space station hidden in the galactic core and accessible only through the Omega-4 relay. No one had ever returned from a journey through the Omega-4 relay, and no Collector had ever been examined. Thus, the link between the Protheans and the Collectors remained undiscovered. This dark transformation ensured that the Protheans' legacy endured in a twisted form, serving the very entities that once sought to destroy them. While Collector tech is advanced, it bears little resemblance to Prothean technology. This divergence likely occurred as the species evolved independently of the Reaper's genocide, which all helped to further conceal the true connection, with even the most specialized researchers never suspecting that the Collectors and Protheans were related. It is presumed that the Collectors retained partial access to Reaper tech, including husks, a Reaper IFF allowing safe passage through the Omega-4 relay, and equipment protecting their base from the galactic core's harsh conditions. Over the next 50,000 years, the Collectors made periodic forays into the Terminus systems, trading their advanced technology for seemingly insignificant items or small numbers of specific individuals from various species. Following the destruction of Sovereign, the Reaper known as Harbinger began orchestrating the abduction of millions of human colonists through the Collectors. This was part of a renewed attempt to create a human Reaper and initiate the next cycle of extinction. In 2185, Commander Shepard and their team launched an assault on the Collector base, killing all the Collectors stationed there and uncovering the truth about their Prothean origins.
You have failed. We will find another way. Releasing control.
Prothean's transformation into Collectors shows off one of the darkest aspects of the Reaper's psychological attacks on the galaxy. The Protheans were light-bearing, technology-bringing, sources of hope and testaments to how powerful a species could become, but by turning them into Collectors, into mindless drone slaves, it twisted the inspiring message behind Prothean technology. Icons of hope became symbolic of hopelessness. But Ilos was not the only refuge where the Protheans sought survival and stasis. On Eden Prime, nearly 1 million Prothean warriors, along with their commander Javik, were preserved in cryogenic life pods within the bunker facility. Javik's mission was to lead these warriors in rebuilding the Prothean Empire once the Reaper threat had passed. However, before the facility could be sealed, indoctrinated traitors revealed its location to the Reapers. The ensuing attack resulted in the destruction of hundreds of thousands of stasis pods, killing all their occupants. In a desperate bid to preserve the remaining survivors, the facility's virtual intelligence, Victory, initiated a neutron bombardment to eliminate the Reaper forces. This bombardment also severely damaged the facility, destroying the systems that were responsible for awakening the Protheans from stasis. With Javik's survival being paramount, Victory diverted power from the remaining stasis pods to keep his pod functioning as long as possible, hoping that future civilizations would recover and revive him. More than 50,000 years after Javik entered stasis, Commander Shepard may uncover and activate his pod. Faced with the destruction of his race and the failure of his mission, the Prothean sees his remaining purpose as exacting vengeance on the Reapers by joining forces with Shepard. During the Reaper invasion of 2186, some of the surviving Collectors may be freed from Reaper control through the intervention of an ancient race known as the Leviathans. These awakened Collectors represent the last remnants of the extinct Prothean race, embodying the Prothean virtue of vengeance. As they shake off the Reaper's influence, they stand as a testament to the Protheans' enduring spirit and relentless drive for retribution. In many ways, the Protheans are the most responsible for the final resolution to the Reaper threat.
How's the Prothean device coming?
Alliance R&D has officially begun construction. The team has dubbed it Project Crucible.
Though they too received knowledge passed down from those harvested in a previous age, like the Anusanan who came up with the idea of something like the Crucible, it was the Protheans' process on bringing this to life and jamming the Citadel signal with the Keepers, while also placing the embers of knowledge to spark the next generation of sentient species that all helped to rob the Reapers of their greatest ally. The Protheans had prevented the wisdom of the ages from being reduced to zero. The Protheans made sure that there was no full galactic reset, and giving this gift of wisdom to the next generation, pushing some of these advancements into the next cycle, is what would finally deliver the Prothean victory. So that's it for their story, and as for behind the scenes facts, the name Prothean plays with a bunch of Greek concepts, like the words proto meaning primary or first, and theos meaning god. So you could see that as the first gods or coming before the gods, and they even work on the prototype for the Crucible. But of course the name is also coming from Prometheus, the titan who gave the mortals the gift of fire, enabling them to learn the arts of civilization, with arts there meaning all kinds of human-made things, technology in general. And so just like how Prometheus helps primitive humans, the Protheans are looking to advance primitive species, including humans, and even the Hanar refer to them as the Enkindlers, the Firebringers. Prometheus means forward thinking, so much like the role to think past the cycle to help those in the next cycle against the Reaper harvest. And this also fits into themes of the Leviathans and Reapers being the evil gods, like I mentioned in the behind the scenes for those videos. Everyone from Zeus to Yahweh has been theorized by different sects to be evil creator gods, seeking to subject humanity and punishing them whenever they grow too powerful. You can see the story of Eden wanting to deprive knowledge and eternal life, and especially the destruction of the Tower of Babel, as playing similar themes to the Reapers, who set the guide rails for organic life, making sure they never grow too powerful, and swooping in to destroy them whenever tech gets to a certain level. Prometheus, on the other hand, is giving mankind fire, even at his own harm, doing things like tricking Zeus during a sacrifice so that man gets the meat and good parts, while the god gets the bones and unwanted parts. To the Greek version of the flood, where Prometheus' son Deucalion creates an ark to survive the flood. Prometheus and the Protheans step in to save humanity from the cosmic oppressors. While the Prothean statues on Ilos resemble that of the space jockey seen in the movie Alien. And really interestingly, that space jockey species is called the Collectors in the Aliens novel Earthhive by Steve Perry. While in the Art of the Mass Effect universe, it's said that Ilos was based on artwork by Zdzislaw Beksinski. The Prothean pyramids seem inspired by The Sentinel, a short story by Arthur C. Clarke, which later evolved into 2001: A Space Odyssey. Though it was a tetrahedron in the story, they do serve similar roles. You can see in a newscast during the time of the human colony abductions by the Collectors that the Hanar, who worshipped the Protheans, saw this as punishment on humanity for allowing the beacons on Eden Prime to be destroyed. In the Codex image for Mass Effect 2 and 3, they have a resemblance to a husk, particularly in the glowing blue eyes present on the upper body. While it resembles the statues found on Ilos, it doesn't look like Javik, or representations of living Protheans. Sadly, the out-of-universe example is that the artists simply didn't know what they wanted the Protheans to look like yet. In the Art of the Mass Effect universe, BioWare explains that they left it vague, with the Collectors fleshing out this look more in the second game, and then what we finally get with Javik in Mass Effect 3. But I really like what senior writer John Dombrow went with. I think it makes a lot more sense, that the Anusanon are what are being depicted in these statues on Ilos. Remember, they came before the Protheans, and did help with their technological advancement. If you made it this far, please hit that like button, subscribe to see more, and check out these videos, I'm sure you'll like them. But most important of all, may you be a good shepherd and pass the torch of wisdom to the next generation. But for now, I should go.